do this. We've been playing together for 7 years, and every once in a while, Joe's mom will be like to me, "Hey, Joe. I mean, what is your name? Ben. Oh, hey, Ben." Yeah, it changes all the time.
Yeah, Dron did it to me on the phone last time we talked to him.
You guys are gonna enjoy Vanessa Collier. She is an incredible musician when she comes. She plays saxophone and like I don't know. I feel like any room just kind of starts pulsating when you're inside of it. It's kind of sweet. Anyways. We're gonna do a bunch of different stuff for you tonight. Thank you guys all for coming. We're gonna play some blues. We're gonna sing some tunes. We're gonna play some folk songs. We'll play some jazz. Play some fiddle tunes, and we're gonna tell you some stories. So if we're not loud enough, please let us know. And
just do some of that.
We'll just do a little bit of that. We're gonna try and figure out the mic situation as we go along. So have at it.
Well, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone. Now, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone. Where you see that old liar coming down the street, well, the first thing she'll do, she'll show them teeth. Well, the next thing she do, she tell a doggone lie.
Well, you better let the liar pass on
by. Now, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone.
Right soon in the morning before you go out,
well, you see that old liar coming to your house.
Well, he'll say, "Sister Sue, I ain't got long to stay."
Then the next thing you know, he'll stay all day.
Now, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone.
I said soon one morning before you go out.
Well, you see that old liar with a big dimpled smile.
Well, he'll talk about Sally and then lie on Jane.
Well, you say anything about it, don't you mention my name.
Now, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone.
Now, if you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble. If you don't want, you don't have to get in trouble, brother. You better leave that liar alone. Thank you, folks. That was a tune from the great Golden Gate Vocal Quartet. Came out of West Virginia. For a long time, we were saying that it came out of San Francisco because they're the Golden Gate Vocal Quartet. And you can tell that we weren't necessarily raised in the church, because that's what that was in reference to.
Which they let us know when we got to West Virginia.
Which they let us know when we got to West Virginia that we were lying. We like to open with that song because we need you guys to know that we're storytellers. And like most of the books in here, in the fiction section, we're gonna tell you some cool stories. You're gonna be like, "Oh wow,
what incredible history they shared with us.
That's great, so knowledgeable. I'm gonna take that home with me. Tell somebody. Just verify first. Just verify first." That's all I have to say about that.
We're pretty sure it's true that this song comes from the great Leroy Carr, who was an incredible piano player and composer based out of Chicago.
Just make sure we're in tune.
Yeah. We got that new Michigan atmosphere here. We're from Seattle, by the way. Flew into Seattle.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah!
It's the longest I've ever traveled to play in the library, and so far, I'm very pleased we came.
And the first time we've ever gotten applause from being from Seattle. I think we're good. I think we've done everything we needed to do.
Great. I'm longing for my sugar, Lord, and I don't want no one else. I'm longing for my sugar, Lord, and I don't want no one else. Well, I don't miss it so bad till I'm all by myself. I knew when I quit her, oh Lord, I was doing wrong. I knew when I quit her, oh Lord, I was doing wrong. Now I got trouble in my mind. It's trying to get her back home. Fussing and fighting ain't the way to get along. Fussing and fighting ain't the way to get along. It's caused me a world of trouble, left me all alone. Can't work in the daytime, I can't sleep a wink in the night. I can't work in the daytime, I can't sleep a wink in the night. Thinking the woman I love ain't been treated right. That's the truth, man. Now this one,
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
this one comes to us from one of the great unsung heroes of the early last century. Eddie South was an incredible violin player who was classically trained and had every gift one can hope for on the violin, but because he was black, was not allowed to become a part of the classical world. And so he left America and went to Europe, to Eastern Europe, and developed his music further and absorbed a lot of Eastern European folk music into his work, and then came back to America and settled in Los Angeles, where he, for many years, had his international orchestra he played with on the radio here.
While he was in Europe, he recorded with Django and Stefan in Paris for a little bit, and got acquainted with a lot of that French, that manouche jazz kind of stylings, and incorporated a lot of that into the stuff that he would then be playing with his international orchestra in LA.
And with them recorded the greatest version of Sweet Georgia Brown ever. So good.
It's amazing. He does it with Stefan Grappelli and just slam dunks him. I mean, don't get me wrong, Grappelli's an amazing violinist, but nah.
Eddie South was the swing violinist.
He was the guy.
He was the one. So, we're not going to play violin on this, but we're going to do a song that we learned off of one of his recordings. This is No More Blues.
Two. I want two.
No more blues, they have had their day. Send them on their way. No more blues, we can't use any sadness now. We need gladness now. No more blues. Sun's on high in the sky, so goodbye to the rain. The world's been wrong for too long. Let's sing a song again, spread the news. Everything's okay. Joy is here to stay. No more blues. Come on. No more blues, they have had their day. Send them on their way. No more blues, we can't use any sadness now. We need gladness now. No more blues. Sun's on high in the sky, so goodbye to the rain. World been wrong far too long. Let's sing a song again, spread the news. Everything's okay. Joy is here to stay. No more blues.
You're getting your banjo, but what would you like to play?
What would you actually be going to do? Yellow Dog?
Yes, the Yellow Dog. So we're gonna do a song that was put into this version for us, but definitely came out of the version it was written for. Yeah, you guys are all probably pretty familiar of W.C. Handy, maybe heard of the name. Known as the father of the blues, he's the father of nothing. It's a strong statement, but he was just the guy to write it down. He was just the first guy to put it on a piece of paper with the name blues at the end of it and make money from being known as the person that wrote blues songs. But blues existed far before W.C. Handy ever did anything with it. In fact, he really didn't like the sound of the blues as like you might think of it today, because he was professionally trained. He was a musician. He like wrote music, like he was making like orchestrations, written arrangements for people. He was the story is that he was sitting at this train station in Tutwiler, Mississippi, and he heard some guy putting a knife to a guitar and playing some kind of bluesy bottleneck kind of sound, and he just thought that was horrible. It wasn't until he realized how much money that could be made from it that he started to pen songs that had blues at the end of it. Anyways, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he's not the father. Billie Jean kind of story. Or whatever. Anyways, here's a song that he wrote called Yellow Dog Blues. on Henry, or you want to do Beale Street? Yeah.
We're gonna keep it in the blues vein before we get even weirder. This is
Careful.
Yeah, careful what you ask for.
I said that.
You're gonna get weird. Don't worry.
You're gonna get weird. We're gonna get weird. We're gonna get weird together.
Yeah. No one's even drinking yet. No, okay, I'm not gonna make assumptions. I'm sorry. That's making assumptions. That's not kind. This is a song from Memphis. Also, it's from the Memphis Jug Band. This is a song they played. Takes its name from the street in Memphis. It's the Beale Street Mess Around. So it's that kind of weird.
But this is like a weird street. I mean, this is like a crazy street. Back in the day, it was basically, Memphis was basically ran by this guy named Mr. Crump, and they wrote a song. There was a song that was written about Mr. Crump called "If Mr. Crump Don't Like It, He Ain't Gonna Have It Here." And basically, Mr. Crump had like everybody under his thumb. He owned basically everything. And he said what and who and when and how and things happened. He only served one term as mayor, maybe, or governor, I forget. Mayor
of Memphis.
And then like had like this, great corrupt career for like 12, 14 years afterwards. After just that one little stint of setting up his pawns as mayor. And so like it was a crazy town. So I want you to kind of think about that when we're playing this Beale Street Mess Around, and just think about all the little things that you could just stick your finger in. All the little things that you could do to get in trouble. Because there's a ton of them.
So many opportunities. do just something fast.
Something fast.
Yeah, just anything fast. You want to play in G.
Sounds like a song.
Okay. Well, let's just do Rabbit then.
Okay, great.
I was gonna kind of tell a story earlier, but I'll put it in reference now. You know, we're here right now to celebrate Black History, and it's an odd thing as one of 3 or 4 people of color in a room to talk to a sea of white folks about Black history in what has been designated a month. Right? We should be talking about Black history all year. We should be talking about the history of America all year. It's one of the great reasons that that libraries exist, right? For knowledge. The more we know, the better we are as a whole. And one of the things that I really appreciate about some of the work that Joe and I do, especially considering that we are a biracial duo, that heard that before, that goes around talking about playing this music and talking about the history of where it comes from, is that there are, I think one of the things that hurts us the most in this country is forgetfulness. And it's not just about forgetting, the history of this country. It's also forgetting where each and every one of us in this room comes from. At one point or another, our generations go back, every one of us, to different places around this world. Yeah. Ireland, Scotland, Lithuania, Kenya, Tanzania, Venezuela, they go all over the place. And we're so quick to call ourselves American that we forget that we're Irish American, that we're Kenyan American, that we're, the only people in this country that get the hyphen is everybody that's not American. And I'll leave that up for you to figure out. But one of the things that we get to do is also explore, in for instance, where Joe comes from, and we'll play this song later, is music of his heritage and like his people in Rainier, Oregon, and like the lifestyle and the heritage that comes from people that are living in the woods and loggers and fishers. And then that history that goes back and where those people come from and what's important to them. And this song that we're going to do is a song that we got from a guy named Frank Malloy, who's a white man who lives down in Tifton, Georgia, who spent, all his life since 1933 playing the violin and studying music of his ancestry, of his, of the towns and counties that come out of Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, traveling around with his brother Joe, recording songs, listening to songs, playing songs, and writing them down and having them to give and hand down. And that's a really beautiful thing. It's the reason that we're able to stand here today and play this music is because somewhere along the line, outside of the CDs and the manuscript paper, somebody, took the time to teach us some stuff and like share some songs with us and share stories with us of why that song is important or where it came from or where they learned it. And that's the value of this music, I think, ultimately. But it's also what should be talked about when we talk about months like Black History Month. It's a denial of like the fact that part of our culture is forgetting in this country, and how better we would be if we would just remember all the time and often, So with that said, here's a weird song called "Rabbit Under a Collard Leaf." I know that doesn't connect to anything I just said, but it does.
It connects because blues is fundamentally black music, but like everything in America, is created from a synthesis of cultures. And like people think of people playing old-timey hillbilly music up in the hills, and the connotation you have is a white person with a banjo, probably, right? And of course the banjo being an African instrument. And people have been playing dance music together in this country for a very long time of different backgrounds, and that's a beautiful thing. And so we pay tribute to that synthesis, but we also honor the origins of the music.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
hard to say what that rabbit was doing. Yeah, I don't know if he was alive or dead. I don't know if that's a rabbit hiding or having fun or running through the collards or being eaten. If you're a vegetarian, I'm sorry for that imagery.
We're going to do one now from the Reverend Gary Davis. You know, the style of banjo I'm playing there, Fralin style, clawhammer it's also called. That comes from African American banjo styles. It was adapted from West African styles of playing instruments that were recreated in slavery time, and then passed down and evolved into what we now call old time music, but is really just dance music. Reverend Gary Davis was the living link that demonstrated his style, demonstrates the way in which that banjo style was adapted for blues guitar playing. Because I got the same fundamental motion. The impetus is from the elbow, and your fingers just kind of catch the strings as they swing by. And so that's a very important link that I studied blues guitar many years and banjo for a few years before I learned that was a connection, that it was really blues guitar playing really came out of banjo styles being applied to the guitar. And that happened a lot because of minstrelsy, because the stigma that came up with the banjo, in that African Americans were imitated by whites for so many years playing banjos. And so that's why you see banjos fall out of black culture around the turn of the century, around 1900. And by the time the 30s came around, only bands that were playing in plantation style venues would have a banjo player if they were a black band. And so
what would a plantation style venue be, Joe?
That would be a venue that decorated itself to try and look like a plantation, to connote the so-called good old days back in the pastoral South when everybody was happy. Yeah, right.
I think the interesting to think about though is like whatever club you're picturing right now, or whatever venue you're picturing, I bet you're not thinking of the Cotton Club. I bet the Cotton Club, the jazzy, swanky venue that you probably think of in the streets of New York, is not the plantation style that you're thinking of. But that's exactly what it was like inside, and that was the whole purpose, was to have black performers perform for white customers in some sort of savage, exhibition. And the irony, the great irony, the laugh, I guess, the last laugh, is that some of the greatest music that's ever been created in this country, that by Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, was performed in that venue.
Yeah. So here's something from Reverend Gary Davis. This is called Banks of the River. I'm gonna run through the streets of the city where the rest have run before. I'm gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more. Oh, now we gonna have a good time when we all get there. Oh, I'm gonna sit down on my God's door. I'm gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more. Said hallelujah, yeah, yeah. Lord knows I won't have to cry no more. I'm gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more. the troubles I've been through.
We're gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more.
And I'm gonna meet my mother and father. Lord knows my sisters and brother too.
We're gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more.
Now I'm gonna run through the streets of the city where the rest have gone on before.
I'm gonna sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more.
Said we gon'
Sit down on the banks of the river. Lord knows I won't be back no more. You have your harmonica? I just watched. Oh no. I just watched this little thing on Whitney Houston on the plane over. You know, and I'm just constantly reminded of how heinous sometimes the music system is, right? This capitalization on people, and where all the money goes, and what that does to people's lives. At the same time, there's an absence of money that also happens from the recording industry. And in a lot of ways, you know, a lot of the music that is what was recorded still is recorded, but a lot of the music that we've picked up, some obscure tracks from some obscure sides, from, you know, music that nobody's ever heard of, tells a really important story, because a lot of these recording giants, even before it was the recording industry, sometimes it was earlier. It was the furniture companies that were seeking out these people to record music, so that they could record cylinders that could be played on the cylinder machines, that they could then stack the cylinders in these shelves that these furniture companies made. It's this crazy little roundabout. You know, what the extent of people do to get A to B so that they can make money from C. But you know, one of these lost characters that we found music from was this guy named Pigmeat Terry, and this was he only recorded two sides, and the two songs that he recorded were Kansas City Moan and Black Sheep Blues. And we don't know really anything about this guy. We don't know where he grew up. We don't know, you know, what his musical background was. We just don't know anything about this person. And all we have are these two songs. And just think about all the music that's been recorded that we know nothing about. And those people got zero money. You know, maybe $50 for the song, and then how much money is brought back. And it's an interesting thing about, you know, what Joe was talking about earlier, and talks about, you know, blues music and the disenfranchisement of black folks from that music. And how you know what equity is and what enfranchisement is making sure that people have money for the work that they do and the stuff that comes out of their soul. And that goes for anybody, anywhere, everywhere, right? You do the work, you should get paid for it. And yet so much of the music, so much of the building blocks of this music has been stolen from so many people. And so part of what Joe and I try and do is bring that to light. But this song that we found was really interesting to us, because when you first listen to it, you think, man, is that a woman? Or is that a man? I can't tell. Is that an instrument? Is that a person? I can't tell. The initial voice that comes out on this track is so haunting and so
mysterious.
Yeah, it's just very mysterious. And then you listen to the words, and you realize that this person is singing about a problem of identity, and not being able to fit in to the social constructs of what their identity might be. And so you think to yourself, well, maybe this was a man that identified as a woman, or that was trans, or that was gay, or that was something, but was unable to bring that out in the world because of the time that he grew up in. This song was 39, 37, 39?
Difficult enough now.
And it's hard enough now to be who you are. Our whole thing is you can be whoever you want to be, as long as you're not hurting anybody. What's the harm in that?
Live and let live, man. So
anyways, in in our
Infinite creativity.
infinite creativity and yeah, we put those two songs together and created a new song called Black Sheep Moan. It's exceptionally clever, and we hope you.
And it's on our CD back there.
Sometimes I get to thinking about 1,000 thoughts on my mind. Sometimes I get to thinking about 1,000 thoughts on my mind. Thinking about driving down some lonesome line. My mother's got a grubby head. My father down here drinking innocent. Ooh, my mother's got a grubby head. My father down here drinking innocent. My sister don't notice me. Ooh, she's too proud to let me in. I'm the black sheep in my family, and they know me around. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm the black sheep in my family, and they know me around. One day I'll get lost, and won't be found around. Come on. What's the use in trying when you say you can't get along? You know what I'm talking about. What's the use in trying when you say you can't get along? Might as well be satisfied. Take your sins to the Lord above. And I said, bye bye, baby. Bye bye, till you call that gone. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, baby. Bye till you call that gone. I got enough money to travel this world alone. And I said, please, 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 have mercy. Lord have mercy on me. We're gonna do a nice little fun song here for you. Well, it goes. It has its ebbs and flows, as you will see. This is a song we got out of Southeast Texas, Angeline County. A group of fellas that worked in a sawmill. I almost want to say something else. Sawmill. Who likely got together on breaks and sang together, or maybe they sang while they were by themselves. I know it's loud in a sawmill. I get that. I understand that.
They probably sang in the church too.
But they probably sang all over, and this is one of the songs they sang, and we're just talking about traditions and how we all come from different places. Records of songs like this that are familiar to songs like this come out of the Caribbean in what were called ring games. And children would play ring games. You probably all did it too. You might even do it now with your grandkids, where you get in a circle and maybe you dance in the circle, or you do some sort of imitation game where you do something and then another person hops in and imitates, or ring around the rosy, or duck duck goose, or any of these things that you did in a circle with a bunch of kids where you're kind of imitating each other and
often sing a song.
And playing off of each other and singing a song is something to amuse yourself. This is before all the things,
Yeah.
Lead Belly did a version of this song, and this is our version. It comes from the Angeline Vocal Quartet down in Kilty, Texas. When I was a little boy, when I was a little boy just like you. Ha ha, this away, ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. I got to be a big boy, got to be a big boy. Ha ha ha, ha ha, this away, ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. And then I got to courting, then I got to courting, ha ha ha, ha ha, this away. Ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. So sent for the preacher, sent for the preacher. Oh, 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 this away. Oh, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. And then I got my lashing. Then I got my lashing. Oh, 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 this away. Oh, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. But then I got married. Then I got married. Ha ha ha, ha ha, this away. Ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. And then we got to squabbling. Then we got to squabbling. Oh, 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 this away. Oh, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. So then I took to praying. Then I took to praying. Ha ha ha, ha ha, this away. Ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. And then I made it over. Then I made it over. Ha ha ha, ha ha, this away. Ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. My wife took sick. My wife took sick. Oh, 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 this away. Oh, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. So sent for the doctor, sent for the doctor. Oh, 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 this away. Oh, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. The doctor couldn't cure her. The doctor couldn't cure her. No, this away. No, that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. Then she died. Then she died. This away. That away, this away, that away, all for the girl. Going to the funeral. Going to the funeral. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, this away. Oh, that away. This away, that away, all for the girl. Coming from the funeral, coming from the funeral, ha ha, this away, ha that away, this away, that away, all for the girl. I got me another one, got me another one, ha, this away, ha that away, this away, that away, and all for the girl. Thank you folks, we're gonna take a quick break.
Playing some jazzy blues. Ben on his Resonator Mando. This song is well, the story we like to tell about it is that
It's the truth.
unimpeachably the truth. We hope. Yeah, that's the truth. The blues will be the truth. The story, we're not sure. But the story we like to tell is that Duke Ellington brought his orchestra to Seattle. This was about 1927. And after the show, he and his trumpet player, Bubba Miley, went to Seattle's Black and Tan Club. The Black and Tan Club, you know, as many of you know, there's Black and Tan clubs all around the country. And that was what you call the space that you could go to at least late at night, and people of any background could hang out there and have a good time during the years of segregation. And so Bubba Miley and Duke Ellington went to Seattle's Black and Tan and went back to Harlem and composed this song. And Ben and I are now investors in a new venue in Seattle, the Black and Tan Hall, that's reviving the spirit of the original Black and Tan Club.
You can't see it, but this delicious pocket square has our logo on it.
Yeah.
I made it myself.
So hopefully when we come back next year, the Black and Tan Hall will be open. But this is our version of the Black and Tan Fantasy. Oh yeah. Good call.
B flat. Notice how delicately I did that, and how indelicately he did that. It's a staple. It's basically how you define.
Different styles.
That's why you can't do Ben Seamons and Joe Hunter.
So which one of you guys is Ben? That's what I want to know.
Well, you'll find out.
Yeah. It'll all become clear.
This is a resonator mandolin, in case you're wondering. It's got special magical powers. You have to pass 5 tests to buy one. Can't tell you what the tests are. And that's a resonator guitar. This one was born in 2005. This one was born in 1936. Second cousins. 5 times removed.
Still playing tune.
Yeah.
Until I play it. This is a song from the Bahamas from the great Blake Alfonso Higgs. He played there with his Royal Victorian Calypso Orchestra. And it's an old pop tune that they rendered very beautifully. It's called J.P. Morgan. Ironically, it's not about J.P. Morgan.
Has nothing to do with J.P. Morgan. It never has anything to do with J.P. Morgan.
That didn't stop J.P. Morgan's son and grandson from requesting the song over and over again at the Nassau Hotel, where Blind Blake and his Royal Victorian Calypso Orchestra so beautifully serenaded. This is J.P. Morgan. 2, 1, 2. There's a man named Billy Morgan, took his girl to see a play. And on that journey home, they had stopped into a cafe. As soon as they were seated, Lizzie, she grabbed the bill of fare.
Grabbed it.
Called the waiter and she ordered. Everything was there.
That's rude, man.
Bill said, "Gal, I know you're hungry, but I just don't like to steal.
That's respectable.
But who you think is supposed to going to pay for such a meal?" Said, "I'm satisfied to buy you 2 or 3 things that are here.
The
But
most.
this appetite you've got tonight, why, you would break a millionaire." So he said to her,
My name is Morgan, but it ain't JP. There is no bank on Wall Street that belongs to me. Forget your champagne appetite, for the best you'll get is beer tonight. Like a half for an IPA.
My
My name is Morgan, but it ain't JP.
Bill Morgan married Lizzie, thinking that gal would change her ways. What she did to William's purse, why, I'm most ashamed to say. For whenever she goes shopping, she'd buy everything she'd see.
Oh my God.
And what she could not pay for, why, she'd send home COD.
Do they do that anymore?
One day 6 big delivery wagons pulled up to old Bill's door, and they asked him to accept the goods while they went back for more. But it didn't take William long to go and get his hat and coat.
And shoes and suitcase.
And when Lizzie come home that night, she had met a little note, and the note said,
My name is Morgan, but it ain't JP. You must think that I own some railroad company. You might have known me pretty long, but you got my initials wrong. My name is Morgan, but it ain't JP. his beer tonight. That's good. My name is Moore, but it ain't JP. Over here, do you want to do something in here, or do you want to leave
No, I
this?
wanna
You
mix
wanna
it up.
Well, let's mix it up. Let's mix it up, man. Let's mix it up. You want to do Creole? You want to do You want to do?
Let's do coal and cake.
Coal and cake. You want to do that? Gosh. Okay. Okay.
You do it.
This is very wordy. It's okay for you. Joe and I wrote this song in August. We were teaching for the second year in a row at this festival called Sisters Folk Festival, and before the folk festival they have this writers workshop, and they invited us to come be there to teach people how to write music, which is really funny because we're more interpreters than writers. Now we write really great jokes. We write really good setups, to punchline each other.
On accident.
And we rewrite songs, but I wouldn't classify us as like singer-songwriters. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, the first year we did this festival, we couldn't do it because there was a big fire that happened.
There's actually 4 fires.
There was many fires. There was a lot of fires, and the smoke got so bad that they had to cancel the festival. And so the next year there was still fires, but it wasn't as bad. Also in that last year, another festival or another fire thwarted our way to get from northern United States to southern United States because there was a big fire in the middle. So we had to backtrack and go around. So this is just to set up the fact that we were like, man, fires are really messing up our profession.
It's with our business.
It's not even like environmental at this point. This is just so that we can
This is
get it.
bottom line stuff.
This is bottom line stuff. So we wrote this song. All in that mine
All in that mine
was a dirty lump of coal.
was a dirty lump of coal.
The dirtiest lump
that
you ever did see. The coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
Digging in that mine
Digging in that mine
was a working man.
Was a working man.
the workingest man.
the workingest man that you ever did
see.
The man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around. Above that man
Above that man
was a walking boss,
was a walking boss.
the meanest old boss
The meanest old boss
that you ever did see. The boss walks the man, and the man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
Paying that boss
Paying that boss
was a thieving little crook.
was a thieving little crook,
The thievingest crook
the thievingest crook
that you ever did see.
The crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around. Owning that crook
Owning that crook
was a tricky little bank,
was a tricky little bank.
the trickiest bank
The trickiest bank
that you ever did see. The bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
Steering that bank
Steering that bank
was a naughty little boy.
Was a naughty little boy.
The naughtiest boy.
the naughtiest boy that you ever did see. The boy steers the bank, and the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, the smoke keeps rising all around. Sitting on that board
Sitting on that board
was a crooked old judge,
was a crooked old judge.
the crookedest judge
The crookedest judge
that you ever did see. Old judge on the board, and the board steers the bank, and the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
Pals with that judge
Pounds with that judge
was a senator's aide.
Was a senator's
the
aide.
bribingest aide
the bribingest day that you ever did see.
The aide bribes the judge, and the judge on the board, and the board says the bank, and the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal, and the coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground. Smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around. Daddy of that aide is a man you'll never know. The most invisible man that you never will see. The daddy don't know is the daddy of the aide, and the aide bribes the judge on the board, and the board says the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal, and the coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground. Smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
That man had the ear
Of
a thick president.
The
Thickest prez
that you ever did see. The prez gives the ear to the man you don't know, who's the daddy of the aide, and the aide bribes the judge on the board, and the board says the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal, and the coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground. Smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around. Voting in that prez is the icing on the cake. And if you don't like cake, then you never will eat. The cake's in the prez, and the prez gives the ear to the man you don't know, who's the daddy of the aide, and the aide bribes the judge on the board, and the board says the bank owns the crook, and the crook pays the boss, and the boss walks the man, and the man digging coal, and the coal in the mine, and the mine in the ground. Smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around, and the smoke keeps rising all around.
What pal am I? I told you it was wordy.
Just telling it like it is. We're doing one now. This is an old pop tune that was beautifully rendered by the great, brilliant, blind Billy McTell. And in talking about blues and black history, supporting our knowledge, you know, a lot of people like blind Billy McTell and some of these other folks were mentioning, they got classified as blues musicians. But they actually had a great range, right? They could play all kinds of styles of music. They had an incredible versatility as musicians. And so the record companies wanted them to record blues because the record companies thought that that's what would sell. But people like Blind Willie McTell...
And particularly, that's what they thought would sell to black folk. It was blues for black folk and fiddle tunes and old time for white folk.
Right.
That was their logarithm.
That was what they thought.
Algorithm.
Anyhow, so Blind Willie McTell, like some of these guys, was a songster. He could do all kinds of stuff. So here's a pop tune that he took and made his own. This is called Pal of Mine.
I think it's algorithm.
Yeah. I am thinking today of my loved one far away, one that we used to know, one so kind and true. Love, I'm always thinking of you, even though it's back in those days of long ago. Call me back, pal of mine, let me live there once again. Call me back to your heart, sweet pal of mine. Let me thrill with a charm, as I linger there in your arms, as I did in those days have gone by. Let me roam once again down an old lover's lane. Oh, I'll kiss your lips so divine. Let me gaze in your eyes as I find paradise. Call me back to your heart, sweet pal of mine. Call me back, pal of mine, let me live there once again. Call me back to your heart, sweet pal of mine. Let me thrill with the charm, as I linger there in your arms, as I did in those days have gone by. Let me roam once again down an old lover's lane. I'll kiss your lips so divine. Let me gaze in your eyes as I find paradise. Call me back to your heart, sweet pal of mine. We're gonna do one for you now from William Harris.
Need this? Nope. Got the strap. I didn't even know.
This one, William Harris recorded in Memphis, but he was from Mississippi, and he's yet another one of those brilliant artists that we can hear only 2 of his recordings, and we don't know where he was born or where he died. We just know that he made great music. So this is the Bullfrog Blues. Yeah. Hey, it worked.
Can we just
Can we
put that right here? Yeah, no, I'm serious. Oh, that's on the thing. How close was it? Kind of. Sounds about the same.
This is we're gonna play some more blues tonight, but we'd like to play you a waltz. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, waltzy blues tonight, Irene.
This is one we got it. It's an old classic waltz. We got it from Frank Malloy. We mentioned before. We did the Rabbit Under Collet Leaf.
It's a beautiful, beautiful tune. You know, another cool thing about Frank is that he was born with a photographic memory, and so you know when he would go around to these different counties and these picnics, you know, where they do the whatever they do, the corn shuckins and the
Candy breakins,
pickle fryings and the
shoe
frog
rounds,
legs frolics and the
bean stringins,
cow
churnings,
poke
cider pressings.
Cutlins and the whatever. I was trying to make them up, but it wasn't working. You know, he would go and he would remember the songs. He would remember them, and then he'd go home and he'd write it down. So what he would also do is he'd hear a song on the radio and be like, "Ooh, that's a really pretty song," and then he'd just write the chords and the melody down on a piece of paper and store it in a thing. He'd go to a concert. He went to a concert at like age 75. Went just like a what was it? It was like
the Georgia Music Hall of Fame.
No, what was no? What
concert.
Was but who was opening?
I don't remember who was opening.
Some guitar lick, you know, like you know, whatever it is.
A crazy diminished chord solo.
And then the next day, one of his friends calls and he's like, "Oh yeah, did you like the concert?" And Frank was like, "Yeah, I really liked the concert. Did you like that solo that one guy did?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's a really good solo." He's like, "Yeah, I wrote it down." But it's just crazy stuff. So this is likely a song that, you know, he heard on the radio and was like, "Oh, this is really beautiful. I'm gonna write it down." It's called "Kiss Me Again" Waltz. In Love Again?
Yeah. All right, back to the blues, y'all.
But it's really important what Joe said. I want to emphasize that, you know, we get caught up on genres and these things that have been marketed to us. But music is much more than a genre, right? It's an expression. And you know, these blues musicians that were blues musicians, they were everything, and they expressed all of the stuff, and they wanted to because they appreciated a bunch of stuff than they were just categorized for. And so it really brings us a lot of joy to be able to play a wide variety of stuff and just at least show you how it all is connected, because it is all connected. It is all connected.
Yeah, and no one demonstrates that in the range of their work better than one of the greatest blues guitar players ever to pick up a guitar, Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson was New Orleans born and raised, and played on the streets of New Orleans with his brothers for many years, but then had a long and illustrious career, even through the years of the Depression. When the record industry was devastated by the economic conditions, he continued to record because he was so in demand as a sideman and as a lead player. And he really did for the guitar the equivalent of what Louis Armstrong did for the trumpet, defining it as a solo instrument for jazz. So
he had a much better voice than Louis Armstrong. No, I mean, seriously.
He had a much different but equally distinctive voice, I would say. Pitchman.
Okay.
Try to throw shade at Louis Armstrong's voice. Come on.
Louis Armstrong would not be like, yeah, I'm the greatest singer in the world. Yeah, this is my voice. This is how
He's
I
more of a
sing.
personality,
That's how I sing,
you know?
Daddy. That's how he would say it.
Anyways, Lonnie Johnson wrote many fine songs, and this is one of them. This is called In Love Again.
Love is only a game. When you lose in life, no one but yourself to blame. Maybe lonely and blue, someone is searching for you. But love is funny that way. Still I'm in love again. Can't you realize that it's still you again? That's why my love will never end. I'll never make you blue, long as I'm in love with you. In my heart and soul, I'm so in love again. Can't you realize that it's still you again? I'll be by you like that old-fashioned friend. I will love you from the start until the end. Please don't ever make me sigh. Promise I would never make you cry. Why should I take your heart and your soul and your love for the pleasure and just cast it away when I need you all night and day? I'm so in love again. Can't you realize it's still you again? That's why no one else will ever do. I'll never make you blue, long as I'm in love with you. Play it to me now. never make me sigh. Promise I would never make you cry. Why should I take your heart and your soul and your love for the pleasure and just cast it aside? When I need you both day and night, I'm so in love again. Can't you realize it's still you again? That's why my love will never end. I'll never make you blue, long as I'm in love with you. That's in my heart and in my soul. Something, cinnamon.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
All right, this one's from Texas. It's from Willie Reed. It's called the Dreamin' Blues. Some more day. I'm gonna wait to leave you, but I'll be back some more day. Yes, I'm going to remember how you drove me away. Babe, I lay down dreaming, and I woke up crying. Yes, I lay down dreaming, woman, I woke up crying. Babe down south, and that poor girl is on my mind. Have you ever been accused, mama? Ain't done nothing wrong. Have you ever been accused? Oh, I ain't done nothing wrong. That's the cause today people leave their home. At your room. Excuse me, mama, for knocking at your room. If I can't be your sweeper, baby, let me be your broom. I follow Corina just as long as I could see. Yes, I follow Corina just as long as I could see. My woman, Lord, and these blues had me. Sometimes I think my babe too sweet to die. Sometimes I think my babe too sweet to die. And again, Lord, I think that she ought to be buried alive.
Serious? We're gonna end with Cinnamon. We should.
Okay.
Let's do.
Okay. You want to do Stalin?
Let's do Solomon.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I got it. We're gonna do a song. The first song we did was a song by the Golden Gate Vocal Quartet, a song called "Leave That Liar Alone." We're gonna do another song by the Golden Gate Vocal Quartet, a song that they came out with in '43.
Yeah.
43 rose to the number 7 spot on the charts. I don't know if this was the pop. I don't think they had pop charts back then. I think it was just the charts. And they made it number 7 with this song that told a little story about a friend at the time by the name of Joseph Stalin. Now, this is 43, folks. So we don't really know what the bear really was. We just knew that he was an ally in the Second Great War. And that was as far as we went with that until we had to do a little about face. So that was the only, as Joe likes to say, that was the only time that America was fooled by the Russians.
Thank God.
And so then we're not getting into the politics. We're just laying it out there.
Do with it what you will.
Do with it what you will. Anyway, so there's a song called "Stalin Wasn't Stalin." Did you have a key for that? Stalin.
If he looks up, it helps.
Stalin. Oh, so can you just give me the note? I can't hum you. I can't do your hum. Stalin. That's your note. Stalin wasn't Stalin. 2. Stalin wasn't Stalin when he told the beast of Berlin that they never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So he called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Fuhrer and his vermin. This is how it all began. Now the devil, he was reading in the good book one day how the Lord created Adam to walk the righteous way, and it made the devil jealous. He turned green up to his horns, and he swore by things unholy that he'd make one of his own. So he packed up 2 suitcases full of grief and misery, and he caught the midnight special going down to Germany. And he mixed his lies and hatred with fire and brimstone. Then the devil sat upon it. That's how Adolf was born. Now Adolf got the notion that he was the master race, and he swore to bring new order and put mankind in his place. So he set his scheme in motion and was winning everywhere until he up and got the notion for to kick that Russian bear. Well, now Stalin wasn't Stalin when he told the beast of Berlin that they never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So he called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Fuhrer and his vermin. This is how it all began.
Yes, he kicked that noble Russian, but it wasn't very long before Adolf got suspicious that he had done something wrong. See, that bear grabbed the Fuhrer and gave him an awful fight. 17 months he scrapped the Fuhrer, tooth and claw, day and night. Then that bear smacked the Fuhrer with the mighty armored paw, and Adolf broke all records running backwards to Kharkov. Then Goebbels sent a message to the people everywhere that if they couldn't help the Fuhrer, God don't help that Russian bear. Well, now
Stalin wasn't Stalin when he told the beast of Berlin that they'd never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So he called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Fuhrer and his vermin. This is how it all began. Now that bear called on his buddy, that noble fighting Yank, and they sent the Fuhrer running with their ships and planes and tanks. Now the Fuhrer's having nightmares, cause the Fuhrer knows darn well that the devil's done rose to welcome on his residence in hell. Now Stalin wasn't Stalin when he told the beast of Berlin that they'd never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So he called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Fuhrer and his vermin. This is how it all began. How it all began. Wow.
thank you, everybody. We're really grateful to to all of you for coming out, and honored to be a part of this very kind of historic series. This is an amazing panoply of artists that you have had here over the years, and so it really means a lot to us to be a part of it. And
thank you, Bill, for having us out.
We please give it up for Bill. And that's how much makes it happen.
Was it Bob? Brian.
There he goes. Ben was talking earlier about the kind of the absurdity of saying that this is going to be Black History Month, because in America, as we know, so much of the wealth in this country, not just the actual tangible wealth, but the cultural wealth of this country, was built by Black America. And one of those things that we forget, or one of the stories that I think is upside down that we've learned as we've really studied this and gone around the country talking to folks about it, is that there's this story that Black America had their culture robbed from them, right? Africans came to this country and in a very real sense, their culture was stomped out of them. But what really happened was they found very creative ways all the while to keep that culture, and it had to be changed and it had to be adapted. But they found ingenious ways to preserve it and to innovate, to keep it, and create something that is now sacred to all of us. And the interesting thing is that at the same time, white folks came here, and we had to trade in our ethnicity to become white, right? You are no longer Italian, you are no longer Irish, you are now white, and you get the benefits that go with that. So the story is really flipped. We think of like someone is ethnic if they have melanin in their skin, right? Which is preposterous, right? Everybody has or had an ethnicity. And so I think our job in honoring African American culture as white folks is
to get your own.
Is to reconnect with your own, right? Because a lot of us have lost touch with it. So we go around and we teach a lot, and we try to tell young people to talk to their ancestors, talk to their parents, talk to their grandparents, learn about where you come from, what's passed down in your family. If you're rooted in your ethnic traditions, then you will do less to disrespect others and appropriate others. So I just wanted to give you that thought as we now pay tribute to another great Black American, Nina Simone.
Could be. It all depends on the tonality of that instrument.
Where you gonna run to, oh cinnamon? Where you gonna run to, oh cinnamon? Where you gonna run to, oh, on that day when I'm running to the rock? Please hide me, I'll run to the rock. Please hide me, I'll run to the rock. Please hide me, no, on that day. But the rock cried out, I ain't gonna hide, you know, the rock cried out. I ain't gonna hide, you know, the rock cried out. I ain't gonna hide, you know, hold on that day. And I said, rock, what's the matter with you, rock? Don't you see I need you, rock? Hold on that day. So I run to the river, it was bleeding, I run to the river. It was bleeding, I run to the river. It was bleeding all on that day. So I run to the sea. It was boiling, I run to the sea. It was boiling, I the devil, Lord said. Go to the devil, Lord said. Go to the devil, no. Hold on that day. So I go to the devil. He was waiting, I ran to the devil. He was waiting, I ran to the devil. He was waiting, no. Hold on that day. So I ran back to the Lord. Please hide me, Lord. Don't you see me praying, Lord? Don't you see me down here praying? Oh, city man, where you gonna run to? Oh, city man, where you gonna run to? Oh, city man, where you gonna run to? Oh, on that day, and I said, power, Lord. Thank you all so very much. My name is Ben Hunter. This is Joe Seamons. Thank you all.
Appreciate you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. We'll do one more for you if you'd like. Yeah. Just because we're all moved and stuff.
If you need.
If you have your coat on,
yeah,
get out of here.
Coat on.
Just go ahead. Just leave.
Yeah. Just leave all your money on the counter back there. Sure.
Would you like a singing song? Would you like a fiddle banjo? Would you like a guitar fiddle? Would you like a guitar mando? Would you like a mando banjo? Singing. We're gonna do a singing song. We got one more song. This last song here that we're gonna do is it's a beautiful song called Diamond Joe, and it's been done a lot in the bluegrass tradition, but it was originally recorded by a guy named Charlie Butler, and it was recorded in '37 and '39 in a prison. And the story behind the concept or the idea of Diamond Joe is that Diamond Joe is this person or this entity or this thing or this being that will come and take you from whatever trouble or hardship that you have and will take you away to a better place. That could have been somebody that posted bail for you. There's record of a steamship that went up and down the Mississippi called Diamond Joe. It was owned by a guy named Joseph Streckfus, and in the center there was a little diamond on the front, and it had J-O in it. And so it can mean a whole bunch of stuff. And so our country's prison system is a pretty heinous extension of slavery in this country, and we sing this song to call out that atrocity, and that hopefully we can, as a people, recognize that imprisoning, prison is good for certain things, right? I think we can all agree on that. We're going to do a little compromise thing here, but
if rehabilitation is its purpose,
and that doesn't seem to be what it's about in this country at this moment. And so we sing this song, and that hopefully one day Diamond Joe will come and take us to a better place.
Went up on that mountain to give my whole in a blow. Thought I heard Miss Maybelle sing, yonder come my beau, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Woman I've been loving caught that train and gone. I just can't stand it, Captain. My honey done gone. Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe.
Ain't gonna tell you no story, neither word or lie. Thought I heard Miss Maybelle singing, then she keep on by. Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Ain't gonna work in the country, and neither on Forester's farm. I'm gonna wait till my Maybelle coming, and she gonna call me Tom. Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Come and get me, Diamond Joe. Diamond Joe. Where'd you find a Diamond Joe? Where'd you find a Diamond Joe? Where'd you find a Diamond Joe?
Thank you.